Hey, hi everyone. This is Ranmay here on your show E-Coffee with Experts. Today we have Ms. Gina Ramsey from Pink Dog Digital. She's the president at Pink Dog. Welcome, Gina, to our show tonight.
Hi, Ranmay. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great. Gina, before we move on and listen to the insights that you're going to share with us about digital marketing, SEO at large, I request you to introduce yourself and your agency so that, our audiences know whom are we listening to, and then we can take it ahead with the questions.
Great. So my name is Gina Ramsey, and I am the president of Pink Dog Digital. We are a full-service digital agency. We offer website design and development, search engine optimization, social media management, content creation, digital ad campaigns. We do everything in the digital space. We don't do any traditional advertising, and we help small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, grow their business through their digital footprint.
Super. Thank you, Gina. Gina, you being the president at Pink Dog Digital, what has been your journey thus far, being a woman entrepreneur? How have you set up the entire piece? And what has been your journey in terms of creating this brand, this agency? Can you please help us understand about your journey thus far?
So I started the agency 4 years ago after being at another agency for 12 years and decided I wanted to do things a little bit differently. And it is a little challenging being a middle-aged woman in a young person's market space. So I constantly have to stay on top of what's new, what's happening in the market, stay educated. The more I know, the more I can share with my customers and the more valuable we are as an agency. I have the best team ever. I've got people that have been with me from the start of the agency, which is unheard of these days for people to last 4, 5, 6 years at a job. And I hope that speaks a little bit to our corporate culture.
Yeah, absolutely it does. In today's volatile environment, people sticking around for 5+ years is in itself an achievement and speaks volumes about the culture that you have maintained in your company. And then talking about youth, there is no age to start your own thing, your own gig, and the success that has been built in terms of having those people for so many years does relate to the brand that you want to create. And talking about SEO and presentation of the digital marketing, what steps do you take to ensure that a client's website is optimized for conversion, and how to integrate this into their overall digital marketing strategy?
So we approach each website build very differently. We look at who their target market is. What does a meaningful conversion mean to them? Some people just want traffic. Some people want phone calls. What do they want? And then we have to try and get that. We make sure that we address the front of the house and the back of the house on the website. So on the back of the house, we make sure that we build the website that checks all the boxes with Google. XML sitemaps, H1 tags, metadata, core web vitals. And then we work with the client to build really good content. The content needs to demonstrate their expertise, authority, and trustworthiness as a brand. And then we also look at ongoing SEO campaigns that involve content creation, backlinking strategies, social media marketing, and maybe PPC, depending on their budget.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a holistic approach that you look at, and then you drive the strategy. Superb. When developing a digital marketing strategy for a client, how do you balance short-term goals? Like you mentioned, few people might come asking for you for those phone calls, immediate leads, because their business demands such kind of leads immediately for them to be able to sustain, right? And there are clients who have their long-term goals such as brand awareness or customer retention. So how do you develop digital marketing strategy for clients in both these segments?
Yep. So we look at both regardless of the client. Some of it depends on the client's age. How long have they been in the marketplace? You're going to need to spend a lot more time ramping up branding for a new company than with an established one. A client with more longevity allows for a deeper dive on lead gen. It also depends on the budget. Can they afford PPC, or is this strictly an organic campaign? As organic traffic has really dropped without engagement, so we need to kind of balance that. And what are the goals of the client? Do they want butts in seats? Do they want phone calls? Do they want to collect emails for another campaign? So we have to set up that strategy at the onset of the campaign, not as we go or just to do it. and make sure that as we're going through the campaign, we're fulfilling all of those goals that we set out at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, it has to be a mixed bag of both while creating that strategy for the long run. And talking about strategies, there are businesses who make mistakes while creating those strategies. So, can you please discuss some of the common mistakes small businesses make in their digital marketing efforts, and how do you feel they can avoid doing that?
Number one biggest mistake I see is my intern's going to handle my digital marketing, hands down.
Right.
An intern has their own social media channel, but they don't know how to develop meaningful content, social content, or even PPC campaigns. They don't know how to do that. Digital marketing needs a strategy, and it needs to be assessed regularly for effectiveness. Some people just post for the sake of posting, and that's a lot of waste of time. You need to know what you're trying to accomplish, and then how am I going to get there? And that is not usually handled by an intern.
Absolutely. I was having this discussion with a client of mine, again, an agency, right? Very directly, the CEO told me that the worst profile that you can hire for our social media intern. And it's no fault of theirs because of your cost cutting. You're hiring someone out of the college and expecting them to do wonders overnight. And it is your mistake that you're expecting that out of them. The onus is on you rather than putting them on the social media interns to be able to deliver that kind of targets which you expect them to. So very valid point there, right? And in terms of social media, since we are talking about it, can you discuss the role of social media overall in a comprehensive digital marketing strategy? How Think Dog Digital goes about it?
Yep. So social media is a huge part of the digital marketing strategy, but it needs to be done right. Like I said, sometimes I see people posting for the sake of posting. There is no strategy. Again, with the algorithm changes, it's increasingly more difficult for business to get seen on social. Who is my audience? What are they looking for? What's the best platform? And then how do I measure success? Each platform has its own set of demographics. You need to identify your audience persona and pick the platform or platforms where those people are hanging out. You know, it's like people that shop at Walmart versus Nordstrom's, two very different audiences. Facebook is a very different audience from LinkedIn. So figure out who you're trying to reach, provide really good quality content to them that is meaningful, that will get them to engage with your content, and then measure it. Is what I'm doing working, or is a piece of it working, but the rest of it isn't? Without those kinds of metrics, you're just posting to post. You don't know what you're accomplishing.
Yeah, absolutely. This has all to be aligned with the overall vision of the company, right? And how does your existing customer segment look at you? You know, that relevancy in terms of how your customers or prospects relate to you versus what you're posting or how you're presenting yourself on social forums also plays a very important role. It's not only about what you think of yourself, it's also what your customers feel about you and how they want to relate with you. So that also plays a very important role, like you mentioned. In terms of website design, because your agency does it day in, day out, what are some of the most important design elements that can affect websites' ranking potential? And how do you ensure that these design elements are optimized for SEO at the same time?
Yeah, so the number one thing people need to focus on is load speed. We are always looking for ways to improve load speed, whether it's through looking at the core Web Vitals reports, through Google Search Console. We look at building from a mobile first perspective. Google does mobile first indexing, so we need to give Google what they want. Lightning fast load speeds are critical. Great content is really important because, again, front of the house, back of the house, you can give Google what you want, but if people don't resonate with what your content is, you're really going to fall off the mark. So getting rid of unused JavaScript, all the things that need to happen, image compression to maximize that load speed while delivering really good content.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did mention about Core Web Vitals update. How do you help businesses tackle that in terms of optimizing their website performance and user experience to meet these new requirements and improve their SEO rankings?
A lot of what I just said, we run diagnostic tests on all of our sites through using some third-party tools. We look at Google Search Console to determine where we stand with the core Web Vitals. Some of them can be fixed if they're broken or baked into new site builds. Things like load speed, image quality, image compression, eliminating unnecessary JavaScript. But you have to watch it because core web vitals change. Somehow they change all the time. So using these tools to do a regular audit and help us be mindful of the user experience and performance is really critical. So we run these types of reports for some clients, depending on what the scope is, on a monthly basis. Some of them we do it every 90 days, and then we address what needs to be fixed. That being said, if clients are spending $2.99 a month on cheaphosting.com, some things cannot be fixed because it's at the server level and you've got 9,000 websites on one tiny little server. So we really encourage clients to come to us for their hosting needs because we can manipulate our own servers. So again, front of the house, back of the house.
Right. Now, talking about tools, what are your go-to tools at Ping Dog Digital if you were to name top three?
So Google Search Console, Google Analytics, and we use SEO Power Suite. I'll sneak in Uber Suggest too. That's my fourth one. But we use those tools a lot to gather the intel we need to make our clients more competitive, more effective, and the campaigns that we're deploying showing greater results.
Absolutely. And talking about results for small businesses, there is so much of increasing importance on local SEO by the day. So how do you ensure websites for local businesses are designed and developed to maximize the visibility and in the local territory?
Yep. So overall on page is important. You need to make sure you get all the flags and tags right. That's critical. We make sure that we use schema markup to indicate this is a local business, this is a blog, this is a FAQ page. We also rely heavily on directory listings and citations, particularly Google My Business, to fully maximize clients and local search. We see that in most cases, those types of directory listings are appearing even sometimes before the client's actual listing appears. So you got to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we were discussing, it has to be a mixed bag in order to achieve the results that you wish to. And the last question, I cannot leave you without that, about the burning topic of AI content. What is your general take on AI content? Because you must be doing content and it is a part of the overall digital marketing strategy. In fact, it's the heart of it, if I can say that. So what would be your take on it?
Oh, so much controversy here. I've got a real love-hate relationship with AI. I think AI is a great tool. I think it's a great tool. Can you use it to write your web content? Sure. But is it good content? Not necessarily. So one of the ways we use AI really effectively is to find primary keywords and then the semantic search list. Once we've got, then we can to find suggested topics. So we find a topic, we write original content, and we're good to. Sometimes a client's on a limited budget. If that's the case, we'll use AI to write the content, and then we'll heavily edit it for user experience and SEO. But AI is not a replacement for human writers. Original content is always king or queen in space.
That was a nice one. Great. And Gina, thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful insights. I'm sure our audiences would have benefited a lot in terms of what you had to say about digital marketing, SEO, web development, AI. So thank you so much for your time today. It has been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.